Hey, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to go over the dev stream that we had last night on version 1.3. So it started off with a Q&A. So basically we'll go through each one of the questions. The first question was, the Prismverse feels rushed and has various issues. Will there be any measures taken to improve the Prismverse, and what kind of PvP content can we expect in the future? And they answered that they're working through fixing bugs, basically everything we went over yesterday in the dev talk video, so make sure that you check that out. But the big news that they got was that they're going to be moving towards a new squad-based PvP scenario in the future. So I think this is probably due to the whole balancing issues that we had. I guess they assumed that if they switch it over to squads, they won't have to worry about, one faction having more people than the other. So I guess that's a good change. I'm sure it's going to make a lot of PvPers excited. The next question was, will there be a hard mode for Prismverse or the Way of the Winter? And they said no, which was kind of disappointing to me. I think that a lot of the people already think that the game's too easy, so hopefully the new scenario has like a nice baseline and it's still challenging for a lot of folks. So I'll reserve my opinion until we actually get in and get to play the scenario. The next question was, will we be able to access the previous map in the Way of the Winter? And they said no, we're going to have an entirely new map. So essentially we're going to be moving to the top section of the map. So the bottom section is going to be closed off. So we'll just have access to the new, I guess, kind of winter, cold and hot portions of the map. The next question was, will the new scenario have new bosses and deviations? They said yes, they added 2 new bosses and over 10 new deviants, included style overhauls for the vultures. There's also going to be new silos and 7 new deviations. The next question is, will the level cap be raised over 50? They said no, because character level isn't really the focus of the game. So I'm happy to hear that. Then they said, will territory blueprints be tradable? And they said yes, but they need to address issues before it goes live. So it's in the pipeline and it's TBD. And that is really nice, because I know a lot of people out there want to have the ability to share them. Devs, if you're watching, please give us the ability to, list them online so that we can like download the file or whatever and then be able to use it in game. I think that'll be really nice, because there's a lot of really cool designs out there that I'd love to build on my own. The next question was, will we be able to build Eternal Land blueprints in the regular world? And they said yes, but it's TBD. So I know in the Eternal Land you can turn off all types of, building restrictions. So I guess they probably have to iron that out before they allow us to be able to move those into the real world. The next question was around upgrading deviations, because I know they had talked about that in the past and we're still unsure of how that's all going to work. And they said the feature is still in the design phase, but it should be finished before the new year. So that's pretty exciting. The next question is, can you tell us about the exit scenario feature? And they said that the feature is going to be available on October 17th. And then they basically went over how it works and what the conditions are. So it's going to be a special event, which to me means like temporary, and it's going to go live on the 17th. During the event, you can choose to leave anytime in the first 24 hours of joining a server. So if you pick a server and it's like, oops, your friends weren't on that one, or you chose the wrong one, like you're not stuck there. You have 24 hours to basically get out of town free of charge. No big deal. The second thing is, if you're there longer and they didn't specify a time, I know originally they said you had to be halfway through. I don't know if that is still going to be the thing, or if you'll just be like, after the 24 hours, this is how it's going to work. But essentially they said that they're going to be adding a new item called the Scenario Exit Card, which you can purchase using one Masuko mark. So basically everyone will have access to it. And then you can use that to escape the scenario and move to a different server. The only caveat is that it will put that scenario exit card on a 60-day cooldown, so you're not going to be able to abuse the feature. So make sure that you really want to leave before you do it, because if not, you're going to be stuck there for in whatever you choose after that for at least 2 months. The next question was, will the event be available to every server? And they said that they are going to enable it on all scenarios except the novice server. They said the reasoning is because they are considered tutorial servers and they want people to play through the entire thing before they proceed to a new scenario. But then they went ahead and said, if you want to play The Way of the Winter, then just create a new character directly on those servers. So the irony in that was not lost on me, that they said, we want you to play through the whole entire thing, but you can, skip it by doing this. If that's the case, then why not just let everybody transfer? The next question was, what are the plans for the stability and optimization issues? And this one, they said that they identified an issue with those running DX12 that caused crashing. It was due to some corrupted packages that Steam was sending down, but they're going to be adding an automatic packet fix to take care of this. And I was running DX12 when it was implemented. I even made a guide about it. But after a few days, I started feeling the issues too, so I ended up swapping back to DX11. So hopefully this fixes it, and I can go back to DX12, because I do think that the game looked and ran much better, when it wasn't crashing. The next question was, what about the lag? And I know this is probably the biggest question that everyone keeps, asking about, and the dev team said that they have located the root problem, and relief is coming with the October 17th patch. And then they're going to do some more improvements for the rest of October. So hopefully, since they found the root cause, we're actually going to get to have some lag-free gameplay. So I'm really looking forward to that. The next question was on issues of fairness and cheating. They said that they're always looking for cheaters, and they're trying new features to help with reporting and let people check to see if the people reported have been dealt with. So that's pretty cool. You'll get to actually see if someone that you reported actually had consequences. They're also said that exploiting bugs have had punishments increased, and third-party cheaters are going to be banned forever. There was a question at the end of the stream, will there be Halloween decor? They said yes, there's going to be lots, both for logging in the game during events, and then they didn't specify this, but likely we'll see some more in the cash shop. So now that the Q&A is over, we'll move on to the Way of the Winter details. So hives have been expanded to 16. There's going to be a new mimetic system, which includes torches, and a new mimetic called Polar Expedition. And they mentioned Polar Expedition 1, so I assume that there's going to be Polar Expedition 2 at least. And that's going to let you craft things like hedium, coldium, and thermium, which are kind of funny names. They didn't specify what those things do, but they're basically going to be used to help you regulate your temperature. They also added special crops that you can harvest and pick to get temporary temperature buffs, as well as used to craft temperature buff foods. The survival difficulty is going to ramp up with each of the phases, and by phase 4 it's supposed to be extremely high, so you're going to want to make sure that your gear's all set up for that. There's going to be a new player buff at the start to help keep you alive, but once you get going, you're going to want to build a torch like as soon as possible, they said. So I don't know how long that buff's actually going to last, like if it's a time thing or if it's a level thing. I'm going to assume that it's probably a level thing. They added a new feature called Spectacle Collaboration. So after you unlock your thermal towers, which is going to be like the main focus of the Way of the Winter scenario, those will unlock in phase 2. You can work with others to build this spectacle, which can apply benefits to everyone in the area. So you're going to want to team up with your hive or other players essentially around your thermal tower, and then you'll build it up and you'll be able to choose things that will help it control the temperature of the area. You can actually convert the tower's area into an oil field, which is really cool. You can increase the production speed of manufacturing facilities. You can boost crop mutation rates and yield, and they also said that you can do a bunch of other things. So I'm not sure if you have to like pick and choose what you can do, or you'll be able to do all of them. So that'll be pretty exciting to see when we get into the game. As the scenario progresses, we're going to get Chaos Weavers, which will bring extreme temperatures. So they're mobs that we're going to be fighting, and they're going to launch attacks on our thermal towers. So they said that we'll need to work together to protect them. They're adding some new securement silos. They're adding new weapons and armor. So there's supposed to be 5 new weapon blueprints that are going to be available. the new M416 assault rifle, so they'll have one of each rare, epic, and legendary, an ACS-12 shotgun, which will be legendary, and an MG4 light machine gun, which will be legendary. So these weapons are also going to come with brand new combat mechanics. They showed us the silent Anabassis, which is a frost vortex weapon, and when you hit an enemy, you have a chance to cast your Frost Vortex, and then there's another chance inside that Frost Vortex for an Ice Crystal to spawn, which you can then attack and it'll explode for AoE damage, or I think if you don't attack it, they said it'll blow up after a period of time. So that's pretty cool. I've seen a lot of creators that have access, early access to the beta using that. They're also adding at least one new set, the Blockstone set, which I think is going to be part of the Wish Machine. And I did a video on the preview of the patch notes where I talked a little bit more about stuff like that, so you can check that out in my videos. The Blockstone set has a cold and heat resistance if you just have one of the items on, so that's really nice. And that means that instead of like running one Bastille set, you can run like one of this new set, and it'll give you cold and heat resistance. Then if you want the second set bonus, it's going to grant additional elemental damage when dealing elemental damage, stacking up to 5 times, basically giving you 10% more elemental damage. And then the third perk, which I've seen when the temperature is between 10 and 30 degrees, you're going to gain a warm status, which is going to increase elemental damage by another 18%. I'm not sure if there's a fourth perk on there, or if there is, what it'll be, so we'll have to stay tuned once we get into it. They talked about the 7 new deviations that are coming. We have Snow Sprite, Invincible Sun, Hydronaut Fish, Zap Cam, Ice Pot, Tar Pudding, and Gazokyo. They had another H37 video crash course, which I'm sure you'll be able to find on the Once Human webpage soon. However, basically they said that they are releasing on the 17th. The new map is going to be Nowcott's North, which will give us Onyx Tundra and Vienna Ford on phase 1, which are going to be cold. And we're going to have the ability to choose which one of those zones we start in, which is going to be one of the new features. And then in phase 2, we're going to get the Ember Strand, which is going to be the hot section. They introduced the new temperature mechanics, so it'll be found along with other survival parameters like your sanity, your energy, and stuff. So you'll see a new thing for your temperature. Wearing special gear or eating dishes will adjust your temperature. You can also craft a torch or hold a Molotov cocktail, and that'll also keep your temperature warmer. There's crops that can be eaten for temporary buffs, and then you can augment your gear with animal skins, and then the different skins are going to provide different effects and amounts of effects. So we'll have to play around with the different animals to see. I also saw in an image that someone had screenshotted that they're adding like taxidermy, which I thought was pretty cool, so maybe we'll be able to hang up some of those animals as trophies on our wall. Unlike other survival mechanics, it does look like this one can kill us, so we're going to need to actually pay attention to it. I think initially it'll slow us down, kind of like not drinking water, but then eventually we're just going to die. Some survival tips that they gave us: you won't have survival gear when you start, so you'll need to craft a torch and then look for crops to get these temporary buffs. You'll want to make sure that you use animal skins to craft your gear. Now, I don't know if this is something that we can change out on the fly, or if we're going to be expected to have different sets for different areas, so that'll be interesting to see. We'll also be able to build campfires to stay warm in our facilities. In phase 2, you're going to want to build your thermal tower for various bonuses, which we talked about, and then level it up. And I believe if you do it with more people, the benefits are probably greater. The thermal towers use Chaosium as fuel, which is going to be a new item. They did not tell us how we're going to be able to acquire it, though. In the final phase, we'll have both fire and ice that we're going to be dealing with. As far as the new features, you can now choose your starting location, which I mentioned, 7 new deviations, 2 new bosses, the vultures have had a makeover, and I believe we're getting 10 new deviants. So all of that is pretty cool. And then I think there's just a bunch of other features that they said that they didn't even mention, so we'll see how that pans out. As far as the scenario time length, and again, I created a good video on this, so if you want more specific details, check that out. But essentially, Phase 1 is going to be 7 days. Phase 2 is going to be 8 days. It's going to unlock the entire region. We'll have the thermal tower blueprints, so we can start with that. Chaos Reavers, which are like the new bosses, are going to start spawning. Phase 3 will be 10 days long. We're going to unlock pro dungeons, and then we'll need to upgrade our thermal towers during that time frame. And then on Phase 4, which will be 10 days long, we're going to get the most powerful Chaos Reavers, and then they're going to start attacking our towers, so we're going to have to make sure that we defend those. And then Phase 5 is the settlement phase. We have 28 days to pack our bags and get out. Moving on, there's going to be 2 events that happen once this drops. The first one's going to be some Twitch drops starting October 17th, and they're going to feature Halloween-related items, which is pretty cool. We're going to get this Weapon Charm, Cat in a Hat, the Dark Pumpkin Lantern House decoration, which I'm the most excited for, Wilderness Outlaw Hood, and the Sevatar Terror Headwear. So we'll make sure that we want to log into Twitch and at least have that up on one of our tabs for 4 hours so we get all of those rewards. The second event is going to be a web page event, so we're going to need to go to a website and then we'll sign up to pre-register for the way the winner. We'll have to like select our character and whatnot, and then once we log in after October 17th, we're going to get a new avatar, 1000 Starchrom, and they said deviations. I don't know what that means, like if we're actually going to get something or, you know, if they misspoke. So we'll see what happens. And just a reminder, the rewards for that are going to be sent after the patch. So you sign up before and then nothing's going to happen. And then after the 17th, boom, you'll get your rewards. There was also, kind of as a bonus, we had a luncheon with one of the devs as a creator. I didn't make it there, but I did get to, you know, pour through some of the questions and answers. There wasn't much in there that they didn't already answer in this dev stream. So there were a few things that I did want to mention. They asked if there's any changes coming soon to mods, such as the RNG for the mods is pretty painful right now, and they said that in the upcoming patch there will be new regulations for the mods because there's been a lot that's been changed. So just keep updated with the patch notes, and then when it drops a mod, you'll be able to select the part of it and the keyword of the mod. There's also going to be new ways to get mods. In the new patch, it'll be easier for you to upgrade. So I think that they were talking about the upgrade scenario there. Again, I wasn't there for it, so I don't know exactly what was said. These are just the notes that were provided. As a bonus, they said that we're also going to be updating the UI for mods to make it better for quality of life. So that's exciting, because I know it is extremely annoying, at least for me, to look for mods. I wish I could just type in the name of what I want and it shows up, but I can't. So hopefully they add that. The next question was, will the storyline continue or be completely new? They said yes, but it's not going to happen in this coming scenario. You'll reunite with some old friends. There will be a storyline eventually to see the final beta of Mary. So that's cool. I was a little disappointed because I did think that this would be a continuation of the story, but I guess we're going to get a new one. Hopefully we get more story than the Prismverse, because if we don't, I'm going to be very upset. And then the final question was, will there be snow vehicles, which I think is a great question. And they said that they haven't heard that plan, but in the future they do plan on adding more vehicles. So I'm excited about getting more vehicles. I just hope that they're not part of loot crates, because that will drive me crazy. Please put some new vehicles in the game that we can actually get, you know, normally. Thank you in advance. So that's pretty much a wrap up of the dev chat there. I know this is a long one. I'm sorry for that. There's a couple redemption codes, which I'll have down in the description as well as right here. They did 3 of them. There were 2 for 1,000 Starchrom each, and then there's a secret code which they listed, which just give you some goodies. These are good until November 10th or 11th, I believe, so make sure that you use them. One thing I might suggest is maybe saving the secret code until you launch into the new Way of the Winter on the 17th. Since they're just giving us random stuff, it'd probably be better to get it there on a fresh scenario than on the one you're currently on, where you probably don't need the items. So that's it. So as always, if you enjoyed this content, please smash the like button and consider subscribing for more great Once Human content. It really helps me. Maybe one day the devs will actually allow me to join in their betas and I can get a lot more questions answered for you. As of right now, I am still blacklisted. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.